Hello everyone, welcome back to the third video in my VEX CADing series. In this video, I will show you how to interact with VEX parts. At this point in time, you should have already created your first Onshape document. You should also have a basic understanding of how to interact with the document's interface. Now in this session, I'll be showing you how to get access to the VEX part library. I'll also be showing you how to import parts from the VEX library and directly from the VEX website into your Onshape document. Finally, I'll be showing you how to interact with the parts that you have imported. Before beginning to CAD your robot design, it's very important to have access to VEX parts. However, creating these parts from scratch is very tedious and time-consuming. But a solution to this problem is using part libraries. Part libraries are a collection of part CADs online that someone has put together. This makes CADing much easier and much faster. The VEX Part Library is an app that can be found on the Onshape App Store. To access the Onshape App Store, you can click on the icon in the top corner called Go to App Store with 3 squares and a plus. When you click on the icon, Onshape will direct you to a new page with the App Store. The Onshape App Store has a variety of different extensions. These can be used to change your experience with the Onshape interface. Many apps on Onshape require a paid subscription, but luckily for us, the VEX app does not. To access the VEX app, you can click on the search bar and search VEX. You can then click on the VEX part library and click subscribe. Once you subscribe to the VEX library, this pop-up will come telling you how to access the library from a document. However, these instructions may not be clear to everyone, so I will go over this myself. Now let's go back to the document. Once you come back into your document, you will notice that a VEX logo has appeared on the side of your document, over here. To access the library, you can click on this icon. When you click on the icon, you should arrive at this page. If you can't see this page, I would recommend refreshing your browser and trying again. Before getting access to the application, you first need to read through all the permissions and authorize the applications by doing so. When you authorize the application, you will land on this page. In this page, you can find many different VEX parts categorized into different sections. The first one being bearings, collars, and inserts. Over here, you can find many different parts, such as flat bearings, high-strength shaft collars, and pillow bearings. However, you should remember to make sure that you're on an assembly before trying to insert the parts, because in simpler parts like this, uh, everything will work perfectly, but if you move to a more complicated part like a flat bearing with screws, a warning will pop up saying that this cannot be used in a part studio. Because of this, we typically stick to assemblies when working with these VEX parts. Before showing you how to insert parts into the document, I'll first go over the way VEX groups the different parts. The first grouping, as I mentioned earlier, is bearing collars and inserts, where you can find different bearings like pillow bearings, bearing flats, bushings, as well as rubber and metal shaft collars and wheel inserts. The next grouping is the claw kit. Here you can find the claw assembly, which can be used to make the VEX clawbot. Next is electronics. Here you can find the battery clip, a variety of sensors, as well as the brain and motors. Next is the gears. Here you can find many different sizes of gears, both high strength and low strength. Next is the gussets. Over here, there are nearly 20 different angled gussets that you can find in real life. Next is a license plate, which is self-explanatory with the blue and red VEX license plate. Following that is pneumatics. Here you can find different pneumatic cylinders, the air tank, and different joints that can be used for pneumatics wiring. Following the pneumatics is the screws and nuts. Over here you can find different nut retainers and screws and nuts. One unique thing about this is that some of the screws are actually configurable. This means that you can choose the length of these screws. For example, if I wanted a 1/2 inch screw, I can simply click on this and insert the part studio. Following the screws and nuts is the shafts, which similar to the screws are also configurable. Similarly, there are spacers and standoffs with many different kinds, some of which are also configurable. Next is the sprockets and chain, with different sprockets similar to the gears and configurable lengths of chain. After that is structure. Structure similar to screws is configurable. To do this, you can simply select the channel type. Primarily, most teams use 1x2x1 aluminum, and then choose the channel length. One thing to note is that each hole in the C channel is 1/2 inch. This means that to get a 35-hole C channel, you would put in 17.5 inches. Finally, the last section is the wheels and rollers, with different types of traction wheels, flex wheels, and omni wheels. And that's about all the parts. To insert a part, you can click on the section you want, choose a part, and click Insert Part Studio. When you do this, the part will appear and the part library will refresh back to the home page. If you are ever unable to find a certain part, you can always go on the search bar and search it up. Let's say you're unable to find a part, such as a metal washer. What can you do? If you're unable to find your parts, a way to fix this is to go to the VEX website and upload the CAD files. To do this, first, go to the website. Next, search up the part you're trying to find. Next, click on the part that you're trying to find. And if you scroll to the very bottom, you'll find an area with many different tabs, like kit contents, VEX library article, size, CAD files, and compatibility. To get access to the CAD, you can click on CAD files and search for the part you're trying to find. Before downloading the file, you should preview the file and make sure that this is what you're looking for. Next, download the file. After downloading the file, you can head back to the first robot page. To add in the CAD file, you can go to the plus button at the bottom and click on the button saying import. Next, you can click on the download and open it up. After that, you can now import it to the document by clicking on import to this document if it's not and clicking import. You can also click combine to a single part studio, but this can often make your part studio lag. Once this loads, two tabs will appear at the bottom. One with the part studio of the part you inserted, and another with a folder called CAD imports and the file itself. Now you can head back to the assembly and insert the part in. To do this, you can simply click insert and the part you added in should be in the part studios. Just click on it and click check. Now that I've showed you how to insert parts from VEX and from the Onshape part library, I'll show you how to interact with the parts that you've just inserted. To move the part, you can simply click on the part and you'll see that a lot of arrows come. To move it in a certain direction, you can simply click on the arrow and drag the part. You can either do that manually or you can type in the distance you want it to travel. Similarly, to rotate the part, you can click on the part and use the arrows at the very top to rotate it. While doing this, you can also add in the number you want it to rotate. Another way to move the parts is to use these boxes. These boxes allow you to move the part on a certain plane, as so. When doing this, it keeps the part on the horizontal plane, but you can move it wherever you like. And that's it for how to interact with parts on Onshape. Congratulations for making this far. And now it's your turn. Practice importing different parts into the document. Try inserting a C channel with 25 holes, an omni wheel, a pneumatics air reservoir, an 11-watt motor, and a configured bearing. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment it down below.